I don't chain up for nobody.
I've heard that before.
In fact, I was actually going to ask you, have you ever heard that term? Have you ever heard any trucker go, I don't chain up for nobody. I don't throw chains. Yeah, I don't do that.
I've heard chains. I've heard tarps. I've heard lots of different.
No, well, the reason I mentioned it is because Vail, Colorado, Vail, looks like it's about 90 some miles just past Denver, has just enacted a chain fine of $2,650.
Wow.
If you spin out and block traffic during the chain, laws, and which is certain times of the year, it starts at a certain month and then it goes for so long, you have to legally even have them on your truck. And then if you have, any kind of a mishap and you block the road and you spin out, the fine now is going to be $2,650. Now, the reason this is a big deal, even though it's past Denver, okay, this is going through. It's already been passed by Colorado. I could tell you it's going to mean other towns are going to do it too. All it takes is one or two. The next thing you know, everybody starts doing it, and then everybody's in trouble. So all those guys say, I ain't going to chain up for no one. You're going to get your ass fined. I can tell you that right now. So check this out. Here's what it says. It says the city of Vail has voted in an ordinance that will charge truckers more than $2,600 in fines if they spin out on Interstate 70 without chains. Now, if they have the chains on, they're not going to get a ticket. It says the ordinance was voted in by Vail, Colorado council members on Tuesday, March 18th. That was just last week. It implements a $2,650 fine for truckers who drive along I-70 without chains, spin out, and block the roadway while the chain laws are in effect. The ordinance also implements a and this is where they're trying to be a little fair. It says the ordinance also implements a $1,500 fine for passenger vehicles driving without chains while state chain laws are in effect. It is unclear when the ordinance and fine schedule will go into effect. So usually when like these fine and ordinances go in, they set a date for it, and then they have to give them like a couple months of warnings before they can actually, give them the tickets. Mm-hmm. All right. So now it says it's been a long time coming for the ordinance to come through, and I think it's an important one for the council to regain some control over what we can. Chris Bodkins, the operations commander with the Vail Police Department, said at the Tuesday meeting. Now, it gets a little rough here. He says, clearly, there's not a deterrent sufficient enough for truckers to change their behavior. He says, before the new fine amount, he says, Vail Mayor Travis Coggins said in an interview to Colorado Sun, our estimate is that 60% of truckers are not chained when there is a clearly chain law in effect, right? It says, people are going to complain about this, but my response is, if you don't like the fine, don't break the law. This is what was his name? Mayor Travis Coggins says. If you don't like the ticket, don't break the law, trucker.
That's an actual good statement.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, let's be honest. Okay, there's a reason for chain laws. Mm-hmm. Okay, and a lot of truckers, I've talked to a million truckers in the last so many years, and they tell me they all say the same thing. I don't chain for nobody.
No, of course it's a hassle, but it's much better than killing someone or being in an accident.
Well, now it's going to be a lot better than getting a $2,650 fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's going to happen now?
What's that?
There's going to be less drivers going north.
Yeah.
Northwest.
Yeah. No.
West.
Yeah, west. But regardless, it's not going to stop truckers from going that way. He said 60% of truckers are not chaining when they're supposed to. 60%. And then he goes on to say this. He said, according to a letter written by the Vail Town Council to Governor Polis last month, 2024 saw 99 full closures along Interstate 70. These closures shut down the interstate for a total of 161 hours at an estimate economic loss of $300 million. Colorado has recently upped their enforcement of chain laws. So what I'm getting at is all those guys that are hearing us today, when you tell people you ain't going to chain, I guarantee you will, or you will get a ticket. And then if you don't pay the ticket, your CDL will be taken. So it puts you in a pickle.
Yes, it does put you in a pickle. But you know what? I know this probably has nothing at all to deal with any that we're talking about, but it's kind of funny that, I know, they have the chain laws there, they have it all up in that whole quadrant area. But the fact that they are a marijuana state and trying to enforce it just kind of makes me think, are there a lot of accidents because of them drivers or not? I don't know. Do you think it could kind of work with each other? Let's make sure that we enforce this law a lot because we got a lot of dope heads sometimes on the street. I don't know. I mean,
leave it to you to bring the pothead law up. So yeah, I mean that's actually good. I like that. So you want to enforce truckers that don't have chains, but you want to allow everybody to be stoned out of their goods. Colorado is the weed state. They are the original, right? Yeah.
I don't know.
Good call, Ruthann. Good call. But hey, look.
I'm there for the trucker.
Yeah, but you know what though? So am I. And for the trucker's safety, if you're going to go out west, you really need to be able to. And let me tell you something. If you're not sure of how to do chains, there's a billion videos on YouTube, and it's really not hard to put chains on. You just lay them out and roll and just snap them. It really isn't hard to put them on. And I would tell you guys, if you're not sure, you can find out how to do anything on YouTube, but go on there and watch some of the videos if you think it's really a tough job. It's not. There's ladies and all that chain up.
Oh, yeah.
And, if you say you're not going to chain up, well, then you better park, because I'm telling you right now, now that they're getting the big fines, they're going to be watching for you guys. And I can assure you, you might not see it this year anymore. You know what I mean? Because like I said, it has to go.
It's near the end of the seasons.
Right. It has to go in, and then they have to give a time for warnings, and then they start implementing it. So my guess is the winter of 2026, 25, 26, at the end of 25, beginning of 26, you're going to see this law in effect.
I would hate to be the first driver to get it.
Why?
You're the lucky number one. You're the first driver to get this ticket. Yay for you. I would hate to be that guy. Or girl.
I don't know that it's going to be a big celebration for the coppers, but
I still would hate to be that person.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't want to get a $2,650 fine for any damn thing. I can tell you that right now.
No, I agree.
And really, in all honesty, I am for the trucker. You know that. So if this is a good way of saving their lives, or saving their jobs, because you guys spin out in ice. I'm going to tell you something. It's still, most of the time, trucking companies and safety departments say it's your fault, and then it ruins you anyways. You can't really get a good job for the next 3 years because now you got a DOT recordable accident on your. So do yourself a favor, drivers. If you're going west, get chains, figure out how to do it, and just live with it. You may only have to chain once or twice a year, but the bottom line is if you're going to be going west, you better be prepared to chain this coming year, because it's going to get rough if you don't. And that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say about that. All right, Forrest. Moving on. All right. Hey, you want to take a little break? Want to take a little breaky poo? Truck Parking Club is a network of instantly reservable daily and monthly truck parking locations throughout the U.S. Truck Parking Club helps connect truckers to truck parking locations throughout the U.S. via truckparkingclub.com. Our networks is made up of property owners that have locations adequate for truck parking to list on the platform. This includes trucking companies, storage companies, CDL schools, trailer leasing companies, real estate investors, truck parking operators, and more. Go to truckparkingclub.com today.
Attention trucking companies and truck drivers. If you need help with cash flow, we've got help on the way. Turn to Tab Bank, the bank that knows trucking. Tab Bank has been in the business of helping truck drivers and trucking companies with their cash flow needs for 25 years. It's just that simple. It's what they do. But they don't stop there. Tab Bank helps grow your business with their invoice, factoring, and banking services. What a plus that is. Before you book your next load, play it safe and contact Tab Bank to get their help with your factoring needs. Tab Bank helps determine the credit worthiness of your customers as well as billing and collection efforts on invoices that you factor with them. Let the experts at Tab Bank get you cash quickly for the loads you deliver. Again, it's what they do. Visit tabbank.com/TalkCDL to learn more. That's tabbank.com/TalkCDL. Tab Bank member FDIC.
So we're back, and I'm going to be titling this week's podcast, and I'm not sure how to title it, but it's going to be like, you will know when the good times are back, or how to tell when the good times are coming back. I want to title it a certain way because the reason I want to talk about that is because I've talked to a lot of drivers lately, and a lot of these drivers are getting screwed by companies. And you know, it's always been recruiters lying to truck drivers, you know, making these big promises, right, of what they're going to make. Usually it's a big money thing, right?
Right.
And so I've been hearing a lot of truck drivers, you know, talking to me, sending me, you know, messages, but mainly been calling me, and we've been talking on the phone. And a lot of them have told me they were promised. I mean, it's like the same story I hear for the last couple months. You know, they were told, I'm going to make $2,500 to $3,500 a week take home, right? They're going to get this big pay, and this is what they're going to take home, right? And this is a lot of it's just a 1099 job, right? Oh, they're getting promised 70 cents a mile, 75 cents a mile, and they're getting promised all these steady miles, right? And then they get to this trucking company, and 3-4 weeks later, they're telling me, I haven't had a paycheck over $1,000, and most of them are around $300. And this is supposed to be a lot more pay than your average trucking company. And I'd like drivers to know something, okay? There's a way to tell.
Tell us.
If the good, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to let all these truck drivers right now know how you're going to know. And some of you are going to be thinking, that's a stupid way of being able to tell, but I'm telling you, this is a sure thing. This is a 100% sure way to know if, hey, the good jobs really are coming back. Okay, not just some recruiter, because recruiters have all their numbers and they're calling them and they're making all kind of pitches and all kind of wheeling and dealing, man, and making it sound like it's a great deal, right? Only to get there and it's a crappy job. So here, you ready for the secret?
Tell it.
Are you peeing your pants?
No.
You're not?
No.
Are you anticipating?
No, I'm getting close to sneezing now.
Okay. Are you going to sneeze?
I'm getting
you
close.
Can sneeze on air. Yeah, remember
the punch in the gut. You're going to let everybody hear it.
The punch in the gut sneeze. Anyways, all right. You ready for it?
Tell me.
No. Okay. Craigslist.
That is true.
Craigslist.
I can actually see that. That's true.
Yes. But let me tell you why Craigslist. Because I know you've heard me talk about it before, but let me tell them what I mean by Craigslist.
Okay.
So, drivers, if you're getting offered these great jobs, before you really hear anybody out telling you about a super duper amazing job that nobody else is offering, go on Craigslist, go into the Atlanta transportation section, go into the Dallas transportation section, go into the Houston transportation section, Chicago, Philly, all the big cities. Go into those, and let me just tell you what you should see. In normal times, you will see, especially those cities, especially on a Monday and a Tuesday, you will see 1 to 3 pages, just jobs, a lot, 50, 100, right?
Right.
Depending on the city, you might see 200 per day. Okay. Right now, I looked in there the other day. I was checking. Right now, you don't see diddly. 15, 20, maybe. Right. That's it. You're not seeing any. And here's what else you're not seeing. You're not seeing local home everyday jobs. You might see 1 or 2 every now and then, but you're not seeing a list of them. You're not seeing regional home weekend jobs. Normally you'll see a list of them. You're not seeing big offers. The only big offers you're seeing is somebody saying $10.99, 70 cents a mile, make this kind of money. That's BS. There's no company going to pay you $2,500, $3,000 right now, $35,000. And I should even tell everybody what year it is, because our podcast has been going for 10 years. And in 10 years, somebody might think this is low money. But in the year 2025, and we're in March, at the end of March, right now, if a truck driver makes over $2,000, he's doing really well. Okay, he's really doing really well. Most of these guys right now are grossing about $1,500 to $1,700 on a legit job, $1,500 to $1,900 on a legit job, and they're bringing home anywhere from say $1,000 to $1,500 clear. And a lot of them I've talked to said, I just need to bring home $1,500. The good jobs a few years ago, especially during the pandemic and before that, some of these guys were bringing home $3,000, $4,000, $2,500, $3,500. They were making really good money. But ever since those jobs went away, they're waiting and watching and hoping that these good jobs are going to come back. And these recruiters and these trucking companies, right, are baiting them in with all these, with the big sugar carrot in front of them. You know what I mean? And it's not there. And the way you can tell is going Craigslist. If you see a lot of trucking companies hiring, and you see local jobs, and you see a lot of jobs, then you know the freight is back. Then now there's a good possibility that you're going to make some really good money. Okay? I'm telling you, when you see jobs, okay, where drivers are not asked to be, when job listings are big in Indeed and Craigslist and all these job places, right? The job boards, let me tell you what happens. And this is exactly how it's going to happen. The manufacturing lines are coming up. Okay, manufacturing's coming up, and it is slowly turning.
Yeah, it is. I could see that with a lot of stuff is still slowly coming into the stores. I'm getting a little bit more information too of things slowly picking up.
Right. So here's what happens though whenever it starts booming good. Like say Nestle's or Honda or Chevrolet or Levi's or Nike or whoever, right? Philip Morris, all of them. Producers, manufacturers, all these places that are shippers, they pick up the phone when all of a sudden the market is turning and they see that it's in demand. Remember that old title, supply and demand. There is not demand right now for a lot of stuff. So what happens is when all of a sudden a big demand comes, the shipper, manufacturer picks up the phone and then they call Mr. Swift or Mr. UX Express or Mr. Schneider or Mr. whoever, small companies, big companies, all those companies that have contracts, and they say, hey, we need 500 loads taken a month. We're going to give you 300 loads a month, 400 loads a month, 1,000 loads a month. And then all of a sudden, the CEO of that trucking company, he walks into the safety department and he says, take your foot off the pedal and start bringing drivers in. We just got crap loads of freight. And all you drivers that couldn't get hired, you're going to start seeing jobs. And all you drivers that are looking for something where money's going to be starting to come in more steady for you, that's going to happen. And it's only because you're going to see on Craigslist and Indeed 10 billion jobs. Other than that, trust me, anybody that tells you that you're going to make $1 million right now is a freaking liar. And I promise you, they're liars. And I'm telling you, I could show you where the majority of those companies are at, up in the Midwest, okay? A lot of your Chicago companies that are advertising for big dollars, all right? And not just Chicago companies. There's other companies besides Chicago companies, but a lot of these companies that are offering the big dollar right now, trust me, they don't need to offer you big dollars because there's 1 million truckers that are looking for work. There's 1 million truckers that are looking for work right now, and they don't have to offer you $1 million because there's, for everyone that says no to the job, there's 10 or 20 that'll say yes, I'll take it. I'm just trying to make sense for everybody so they understand that a lot of these companies right now that are offering the big dollar, it's a freaking lie. Just don't fall for it. If somebody's offering you a steady income and it's contracted freight, take it. Take it, and there's going to come a time where all of a sudden it's booming again. But until it booms again, I promise you, The big dollars are not. I talked to a driver there the other day. He said he's bringing home like $2,400. But you know what they're doing? It's a company up in Chicago. He's running 4,500 miles a week. 4,500 miles. Do the math. He ain't making crap. He's running his brains off for some kind of loads they got. Okay, and he still isn't bringing crap home. And he's on a lease purchase. So all I'm saying is, guys, if you want to know, truly, if the market's really there for the potential for you to really do well, look at Craigslist, look at Indeed, look at all these job boards. And if you see like lots of jobs daily, I promise you it's getting a lot better. But if it's staying the way it is right now, don't fall for it. That's really all I want to say about that. What do you think? What are your thoughts?
Well, I agree with you. And I honestly didn't even think of it being in that perspective. So when you brought that point out, yeah, definitely. Like I said, I didn't think of it in that way. I thought you were going to say something different. So spot on.
Yeah, I know.
Humble much?
No. I mean, I'm just saying it's the truth. I mean, these guys got to know it's a simple way to tell. Okay, it's a simple compass for truckers. It's a real easy way to tell. All you got to do is watch the job market. Just watch how big the amount of companies are. Because all these truck drivers, first off, up until the pandemic, let's not even talk about the pandemic because that was a weird time. But before the pandemic, probably for the last, I'd say from the 1990s, the early 90s, maybe even the mid 80s, all the way up till the end of 2019 is the very beginning of the pandemic. The beginning of 20, the end of 2019. November of 19 is when those what are they called? Cruise ships had a bunch of sick people on it, and Trump was trying to keep them out, and they fought until he brought them in, and then New York got crazy, and all this other stupid stuff happened. It was the end of 19 when that happened. Okay, well, let me tell you something. Prior to that, from like probably the 80s, the early 90s, all the way up till 2020, the number one job in the United States of America in every newspaper was Class A CDL. And guess what else was? RNs and LPN nurses. They were the three things that you could count on in every newspaper every day seeing. I don't care, little newspapers to big newspapers. And then when digital went, it was all nursing, truckers. They're the two gigantic jobs, and teachers, by the way. But the bottom line is, okay, guys, for the last 4-5 years, it got messed up. When you shut the country down, the last 5, you see what happens when the country gets shut down for a year. 2020 into 2021, the United States of America was not doing crap. And it's taken this long to get back. And I'm telling you, you're about to see it turn. I believe this with my whole heart. And the reason I say it is because I'm seeing car manufacturers, their assembly lines are really booming right now. And there's got to be a reason with high inflation and crappy money and all this other stuff going on that that every automaker is pushing the limit to put cars out right now. There's got to be a reason when nobody has money. And it's because they know it's about to turn. And I'm telling you, it's about to turn. I think it's going to turn fast. I think by the mid-April, you're going to see like some crazy action. I could be wrong. Could be the end of April. But I'm telling you, sometime in April, you're going to be like, wow, look at this. It's really going along. It's picking up steam. And you guys might be able to say, now we can get that good job. But right now, I'm telling you, be careful. Be careful right now because you don't want to get lied to by these companies.
Patience.
That's it. Just be patient. Listen, have patience. It's been a long time since the damn good jobs are. I know we want them back now, but we've come this far, all of us. Really, we have. You drivers, man, our hearts bleed for you guys. You know, it's we see what it's like when a hardworking man and woman want to get out there and just run freight, and it's not there for you.
Think of it this way. You know when you're getting your cup, your pot of coffee brewing, and you don't have the patience to wait for it to finish, and you try and get the pot out and slip your cup in, and you end up getting a mess.
I'm that guy.
Because you don't have that patience to just let it finish. That it doesn't take long. But if you just let it finish that little bit of brewing left, you don't have the mess everywhere, and then you don't get that burnt coffee on your burner of your coffee maker. And yeah, just have a little bit of patience.
I even don't let the Keurig finish sometimes.
You're sad.
I am sad. I'm a sad sack. But truthfully, guys, hang in there a little longer. You've come this far. Don't get duped by some of these companies. I promise you. Keep your eye on Craigslist, Indeed, all the job boards. And when you see all of a sudden pages and pages of jobs per day, you're going to go, whoa, they're hiring. They're hiring. And you will know. Guarantee. Trust me.
I believe it.
And if you don't believe me, just watch it and see. I promise you, it's going to go together. I promise you. But don't fall for some recruiter right now saying you're going to make $1 million if there ain't a lot of jobs out there. Because he don't need to offer you $1 million. He don't. He just probably baiting you in because why? Because he probably has a bad reputation. Moving on. For over 20 years, Sumar Financial has been a trusted partner for owner-operators and small carriers, providing fast, flexible, and transparent freight factoring solutions that keep businesses rolling. Here's why truckers choose Sumar. Number 1, same-day payments. Number 2, if a broker doesn't pay, Sumar takes the loss. Zero risk for you. Number 3, no reserve plan. Get all your money up front with no hidden final payouts. Number 4, no long-term commitment. Try Sumar with no minimum volume requirements or long-term contracts. Number 5, fuel card program with top savings. The best network in the country, flexible payment methods, and IFTA support. With fast, hassle-free payments, technology-driven solutions, dedicated account executives, no surprises, no hidden fees. Trust Sumar Financial to get your invoices paid today. And when we say paid today, we mean paid today. If you're a driver looking for a new trucking job, check out NCI. NCI offers the following: new Kenworth T680s, competitive wages, solo, team, and students welcome, plus a full benefit package for you and your family. Check them out today at 888-311-7076. That's 888-7076. And tell them TalkCDL sent you. Okay, what else is on the board today? Hey, check this out. I seen this little article in CDL Life. I call it "Don't You Lie to the DOT." A trucking company owner, he's going to prison for 45 months, almost 4 years, just for lying.
Wow, to the DOT.
Yeah, it says he's getting it. It says lying to the FMCSA. That's the title, and then it says a Rochester truck company owner. Should say trucking company owner, is facing prison after being convicted of lying to the Department of Transportation, which is the DOT. Anatoly, Anatoly, Kurik, 43 years old, operated a multi-million-dollar trucking business called Dallas Logistics. Prosecutors said when Kurik applied to the FMCSA for authority to operate as an interstate carrier, he submitted false documentation regarding the safety rating of his business. So he lied about the safety rating, right? And then it says, according to prosecutors, Kerwick then started new companies. You know how like some of those companies, they'll get like in trouble with the DOT because they're running illegal, and then they'll put like another, like I can make you Ruth Ann Transportation and open a new DOT number in your name, but really it falls under us. And this is what he did. So Kerwick started new companies using various family member names and an employee's name in an attempt to trick the FMCSA and make it appear that these companies were independent and not affiliated with the prior business that received the negative safety ratings. Kerwick was convicted by a federal jury of making false statements to the FMCSA. But I'll tell you what, don't put the wrong stuff down on paper or lie to somebody. You think that, I was just joking. You know, people lie and they'll go, I was just kidding.
I hate that.
Well, this guy, man, he literally was like, it said he put a false statement down, and it says NYS, New York State DOT, and conspiring to do the same. He was sentenced to 45 months in prison. So he almost got 4 years for lying. And I guess, they're cracking down on this crap. And you know what's funny? There's probably a company or two listening to us right now that's a small company that lied, and they're doing the same thing, and they're probably going, shoot, man, we better watch our ass. My my thing would be shut down and reopen legitimately. If you're out there right now looking over your shoulder, I'd say turn it all in and start over in a legit way if you can. Okay. But at this point, look what they're doing here. They're cracking down. There's been a lot of trucking company owners going to jail lately for all kind of stupid crap. And that, I was surprised at that one. I would have thought maybe, you know what I mean? Maybe 30 days, 90 days, a fine and shut his company down or something like that. But no, they're putting him in jail.
You'd have to check his safety rating and see what he was getting fined for and what the issues were to see, it could have been something, I don't want to say tragic, but something that could end up tragic. And if he's not correcting his ways, they're more or less thinking he's got to learn a lesson,
Yeah, I mean, and maybe they're just trying to make an example out of him. I don't know, but I guarantee you there's other companies out there going, gulp.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Gulp. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Why are we lied to? Damn it. They catching up to us. Anyways, moving on.
Moving on.
Let's move on. Moving on. So, check this out. Another city, San Antonio, Texas. It says there is officially no more overnight parking for truckers in the city of San Antonio, Texas.
In the whole city?
The whole city.
The whole area?
The whole city. In any residential area. It says the city of San Antonio has
residential, okay.
Well, no, hold on now. Listen, you got to realize one thing. If you're a trucker, home for the weekend, home for the night, okay, let's say you're a trucker and there's a trucking company you work for that's 30 miles outside of San Antonio, right? And you don't have a car, they let you take the truck home probably, right? There's all kind of, what about a trucker that's out on the road, he comes home and he parks on his street? I mean, maybe he's been parking there for years. He parks there overnight for a night or two and then he takes off and goes, back out on the road. Those guys can't do it anymore. No more. Zero. So they're going to have to find probably paid truck parking. I'm serious.
That's sad.
It is. I've actually sent a message to Evan. He owns Truck Parking Club, which and I told him, I said, hey, here's a problem for you to solve for these truck drivers. I mean, these guys are getting screwed in San Antonio. I know Nashville's like that. The whole state of New Jersey's like that. If you're like near cities or towns, like you can't, nobody has any place to park in New Jersey. But anyways, here's what it says. It says the city of San Antonio has officially approved an amendment to the city's code that will restrict semi-truck parking within city limits. The attempt to amend the ordinance started about 3 years ago and was approved by the San Antonio, Texas City Council on Thursday, March 20th. Crazy, isn't it? According to KSAT, semi-truck parking was already prohibited on residential streets, but the amendment will ban semi-trucks from parking within 1,000 feet of residential areas. So, okay, if you lived on a street and you parked down the street that was not residential, right? 1,000 feet's a pretty good little distance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It says between the hours of midnight and 6 a.m., the amendment allows exceptions for semi-trucks loading and unloading and emergency repairs. So if you park overnight, if you're used to coming home, parking overnight, right, you're now not allowed. And which is kind of screwing these guys because it's if it was a small town, it might affect a few guys. This is the city of San Antonio. How many truckers do you think live in San Antonio?
That's why I'm trying to really figure it all out. I mean, it's kind of...
Could be a crap load, right? I would say.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, most of your companies will hire in San Antonio.
It says the amendment also raises the fine, for breaking this ordinance from $35 to $500. Now, the change goes into effect in 30 days in April, and then truckers will have 60 days as a warning period. That's why I was saying about the other one we were talking about. They got the Colorado thing.
Mm-hmm.
So when most of these places put something together like this, they actually have to give warning. So people can't say, I didn't know. I didn't have enough time. I did not know. This is now going to be, it says, they have to allow a 60-day warning period before fines are issued, and citations will only be issued after 90 days. So basically, you have 2 to 3. Well, actually, really, you got another month before it goes into effect, and you got 60 days. So you got about probably 3 to 4 months before you really are going to start probably having a hard time and getting tickets. And my suggestion would be, look, it's here. You guys that are listening to TalkCDL, go ahead and find yourself some parking. There ain't crap you can do about it at this point. Find some. We know what my suggestion would be. You know what it is? Seriously, I believe trucking companies should offer this. I do. Look, truckers' wages haven't gone up in a long time. Think about this, right? They haven't. I know everybody's under the gun, right? And everybody's trying to squeeze a dollar. I know that. George Washington's screaming right now because people are squeezing the crap out of him. But here's the deal. I would say it's going to come down to trucking companies having to offer that, a certain amount of money towards truck parking. You come aboard, maybe take away your sign-on bonuses. I don't think sign-on bonuses sell a job, but paid truck parking might. You know what I mean? Like if you could find somebody, and I could tell you, like trucking companies, if you called Truck Parking Club, call Evan and those guys, right, and make a deal. Maybe he has some owners of land that can set up deals with you because you're going to be paying for X amount of spots. You know what I mean? For certain areas, maybe work out some kind of a deal with those guys for the simple reason, okay, I think it's going to be harder for trucking companies to get drivers, because I remember when I worked for Schaefer and we were trying to recruit drivers in Jersey for a couple special accounts, and every one of those guys said, do you offer truck parking? Because this was 20 years ago, okay, when I worked for those guys, and they literally nobody in Jersey that we talked to had a parking space in their own property. They weren't allowed to bring their trucks there. So trucking companies either had to help pay for it, or they just didn't get the driver in New Jersey. If you want an over-the-road truck driver in Jersey, I can tell you right now, offer truck parking, you might get some drivers in Jersey. You want drivers in San Antonio? You might be the first company to say, hey, you know what? Forget the sign-on bonus. Troy said they suck anyways. They do suck. Sign-on bonuses ain't shit. But I will guarantee you, if you offer truck parking, if you offer to pay for truck parking, that's a heck of a catch. That's a heck of a perk, if you will. Health, vision, dental, rider program, pet policy, and truck parking, in your local neighborhood when you're on your off time. Think about this too. If a trucker stays out 2 weeks, right? If he stays out 2 weeks and he's going to come home, say 2 days, those guys are technically only going to be parking in those parking areas, okay, 2 to 5 days a month? How much do you think it's going to cost you as a trucking company? But the truck driver's not making enough money anymore to where he's squeezed enough. The truck driver shouldn't have to be the one to come up with the money to pay for a company truck parking. Now, lease purchase, I would say that should be on the owner. If you're going to own the truck, you should be the one footing the bill. But a company driver should not have to pay for parking.
Well, if you have an account where you're getting a lot of freight in that area, it's only wise for you to have parking for the tractors there.
Great point.
I mean, you're going to have enough tractors coming in there, so why not have parking for them at a specific lot so that they're going to have their freight, and then also you at least know that your equipment is secured, watched, protected in some form or way, because if you don't, you have more chances of cargo theft, and you'll at least know that the driver is happy that they don't have to put out that money. I mean, to me, it's just something smart. If you have enough freight going in there, definitely pay for the parking.
Yeah, absolutely. So good, pray about it, guys, and good luck, or whatever you want to call it. I guess you don't need luck. Just hopefully it works out for you San Antonio drivers. I would tell you, Ruth Ann, this is the future. This really is the future of it. You know what's funny? If you read, it goes on to say, he went on to, they kind of said something, I think, a little bit. Here he says, it is our duty as elected officials to protect our residents, and our city streets are not meant to serve as free parking for these oversized vehicles, says Pelias. After nearly 3 years of debate, I'm confident this option pulls from every lever. It's like you guys don't realize those truckers are also residents. You just said that you're protecting the residents. Who is this clown? Let me what was his official position? Who was this guy?
All I know is, one, like you said, they are residents. Two, who do you think brings that food to your local supermarket? You know, like, go ahead, cut their throats a little bit more, and you're going to have to worry about your own garden.
Yeah, it's true. You guys are going to have to go start going and picking up your own damn freight. I mean, honestly, it's funny. I don't even see the guy's first name. Let me see. Maybe I said it. But either way, this Pelias guy, how dare you say you're protecting your residents from truckers' trucks? They're residents too, goofball. Hello? Anyways, that's all I'm saying.
They're making truckers sound like they're a bunch of nuisances.
I know, it doesn't feel that way? Like we're the black sheep of the United States. If you're in the trucking industry, you're the unwanted redheaded stepchild or whatever they call it. Just crazy stuff, honestly. Moving on. Hey, you know what? That's the podcast for the week. Get me the word of the day. Do you have it? Do you have it ready?
I do.
Let me crank up the mixer. The old mixer.
Paramnesia.
Paramnesia?
Paramnesia.
Does it have anything to do with amnesia?
Paramnesia. 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 A condition or phenomenon involving distorted memory or confusions of fact and fantasy, such as confabulation or deja vu.
I'm very paramnesiac, or whatever you call me.
He's not getting this one today.
Yeah, wow.
Because of her paramnesia, Sherry has difficulty telling the difference between her dreams and yesterday's events. One of the most common forms of paramnesia is the experience of deja vu.
So it's basically trying to decipher reality from fantasy.
Pretty much.
You're like, okay, did I dream that, or am I really able to fly? I mean, honestly, that almost sounds like you're doing angel dust. Paramnesia. Okay. Anyways, we're out of here.
Peace.
Peace. Praise the Lord.